Hi, my name is Dalton, and today I'm just going to be going over the basics of insurance with you. I work at State Farm. I'm licensed in 30 states across the country, with most of them being along the eastern border, down along the southern border, up to California and Nevada. Within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be licensed in all 50 plus Washington, D.C., so I guess that's kind of cool. So I've got a friend. We're just going to call him Jake. They reach out to me about hitting a coyote, and they are estimating there's roughly around $900 to $1,100 worth of damage. So, like I said, they reach out to me, and I inform them not to make a claim. My reasoning behind this is because they weren't sure what their deductible was, and with just from my understanding, there was going to be around $900 to $1,100 worth of damages, and if his deductible is say $1,000 worth of damage, $1,000, and there's only $1,100 worth of damage, sure, it's saving him $100 right now, but in the long run, it's going to cost them a lot more because after you file a claim, you tend to see your rates go up. So, anyway, Jake does not listen to me and he makes his claim. I was right. His deductible was $1,000, and there was only $1,035 worth of damage. So his insurance company reaches out to him and says, "Hey, you have a week to to come up with $1,000, and we're going to go ahead and get this all taken care of." So now, not only does Jake have to come up with $1,000, he has to also know. He also knows that his premium is about to go up because he filed a claim, and now he has a claim on his loss history, which is what insurance companies look at to see whether you are going to be even able to be insured by them. Secondly, there's this thing. It was called the Zebra poll. It came out a couple of years ago, and it was essentially by the website the Zebra. It polled over 1,200 American adults, and these 1,200 people all were insured themselves. So the entire questionnaire was only about insurance. And if you passed, if you wanted to pass, you had to get a 60%. Only 21% of the 1,200 Americans have passed. So with that being, that means that 79% got a 59% or below. Of those ones that did get a 60% or above, they paid 3 times less for insurance than their counterparts that did not pass was. My taking on this was that if you know what you're talking about and you know your insurance, it's going to save you money. This is mostly going to be because you know how cheap insurance can be if you can get it from the right places, drive well, not have a lot of claims, things like that. Again, those that failed were paying 3 times as much as those that got an 85%. Just a couple basic definitions. Again, I know you can't see this, but there's claims, coverages, deductibles, and premiums. Claim is defined by Webster as a demand for something due or believed to be due. That just basically means, hey, I'm filing this claim. I need you to pay me. Give me money for it so I can get it fixed, things like that. A coverage is an inclusion within the scope of an insurance policy or a protective plan. That basically just means you're literally covered. Like, okay, yeah, you're fine. You're good to go. The deductible is, again, just what you're going to be paying before the insurance company begins paying. And a premium is how much you're paying either monthly, bi-monthly, every 3 months, or every 6 months. So a couple coverages, just the regular ones that you see in almost every state. There's going to be liability, uninsured and underinsured, comprehensive, collision, medical payments, emergency roadside service, and car rental and travel expenses. I know that sounds like a lot. It's not. Liability is required in every single state, and actually the only state that doesn't require the top portion known as bodily injury is Florida. Fun fact. Florida dangerous. Don't drive in Florida. Liability is also the only coverage that is going to protect the other vehicle and the other vehicle's occupants. This is broken down into bodily injury and property damage. It's just like it sounds like. Bodily injury is going to be taking care of the other people's bodily injuries in the case of an accident. So they got to go to the hospital. The bodily injury portion is going to be paying for their hospital bills. Property damage is going to obviously be paying for any property that was just not destroyed. Well, I guess destroyed too, or damages. So you hit another car, that car is going to fall under property damage. The rest of these are all taking care of you, your passengers, and your vehicle. And in most states, none of these are required. However, in some, uninsured motorist is. Uninsured and underinsured motorist is exactly like it sounds. It's covering you in the case that someone with no insurance or not enough insurance hits you. This can be bodily injury or property damage. So uninsured, underinsured motorist is literally liability, but for you, not for the other vehicle. Comprehensive is going to be for your vehicle if you are at fault. So somebody else hits your vehicle and takes your bumper off. Their property damage should be taking care of your bumper. However, if you hit somebody else and you take your own bumper off, that's going to be your collision. Comprehensive is going to be if a tree falls on it, glass breaks, somebody steals it, things like that. Collision is going to be just like it sounds. If you collide with something other than an animal, animals fall under comprehensive for, honestly, some reason that is unbeknownst to me. However, collision is going to be if you hit another vehicle. Medical payments is taking care of your medical bills and your medical, you had to go to the hospital. This is what's taking care of that, your medical bills. Emergency roadside service is taking care of you in the case that you need to have emergency services while you're on the roadside. I mean, a lot of this can be broken down, and if you look at it a little wider glass, a little closer glass, it's a lot easier to understand. That's going to be taken care of you in the case that you break down, you're locked out of your car, you run out of gas, things like that. Finally, of the coverages, there's rental car and travel expenses. This is going to be that if for some reason you are not able to drive your vehicle, most likely because of a claim, you totaled your vehicle, this is going to be getting you a rental car and taking care of any travel expenses up to the daily limit that you chose. So the Illinois requirements are $25,000 in bodily injury per person. So that's going to be this 25 right here. 50,000 bodily injury per occurrence is the 50 right here. I'm going to stop for a second and explain that a little bit more. So bodily injury per person that is the max amount that you can have per one person in bodily injury coverage. So essentially, one person cannot have $26,000 in medical bills. One person the insurance company will only pay for up to $25,000 per person. And the $50,000 is going to be per occurrence. So if you've got 3 people in the car, the insurance company is not spending more than $50,000 on medical bills for those 3 people total. And the 20 is just going to be $20,000 in property damage. It's just like it sounds. The insurance company's not paying more than $20,000 for that car that you just hit. When it comes to insurance, one of the things a lot of people want to know is how much. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, it can be. Many of the factors are going to be your age, your driving record, your claim history, credit information, insurance history, just things like that. There are literally over 200 different variables that State Farm looks into when it comes to your insurance. So, like I said about it can be a bad thing, it cannot be a bad thing. Insurance is one of the very few things in life that you really should not be really, really cheap on, because when you need it, cheap insurance tends to not work very well. Some companies that tend to have a reputation of being cheap will either not pay your claim, will deny your claim, pay slowly, can't get a hold of them, some takes months for somebody to come look at your car, things like that. With And I don't want to use State Farm just because I work there, but it's because I thoroughly believe that State Farm is one of the best ones that you can get. State Farm has been number one since 1942, according to my training. And that means that they are number one in satisfactory and multiple other things across the board. The only one that they're not number one in is price. And that's because they know that they cannot continue to have great satisfactory ratings if they're very cheap, because that means that they're not paying, when you're paid well, you tend to work a little better. Not in every scenario, but in some cases. And they believe that paying their employees a little bit better will make them want to work a little harder, make them want to work for you, the person that is getting insurance through us, a little bit better. In conclusion, knowing your insurance company is going to save you a lot, whether that be dollars, whether that be headaches, or whether that be time. So again, just taking this and breaking it down a little bit more. If you know your insurance, you know that you shouldn't be paying this much because you've got a great claim record, great claim history. You aren't under the age of 25. You've had insurance before, things like that. It's going to save you time for the exact same reasons. If somebody's spitting out $1,000 per month at you, you're going to hang up because that's not worth your time. And finally, it's going to be headaches, because when you know your insurance and you know what coverages you have, you now know you've got a little bit of peace of mind because you know that you're covered in the case that something does happen. And finally, if any of you have any questions about insurance or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be glad to help. And I know that we can't meet face-to-face really or anything like that, but seriously, shoot me an email, message me in Canvas, something like that. Most of you have my number anyway. So again, thank you for listening, and hope you have a great night.